What's going on, guys? All Blitzel here, back at you again with some more Pokemon TCG content. Today we have my Orlando Regional Championships, after tournament thoughts, analysis, and then we'll see how my bold predictions went. We're going to go over all the lists. I'm going to tell you what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and then we'll go over my bold predictions at the end and see how well I did from my video I made on the Friday before Orlando Regionals. So this first list that we have is a top 8 Aerodactyl Mew list by Grant Hayes. I featured this deck a while back on the channel. I think this deck is interesting because Aerodactyl was not in a very good spot going into the tournament. Like, a lot of Lugias were playing Colognes, but a lot of Lugias near the top were not playing Cologne. Like I mentioned in my video, that it wouldn't surprise me if like the top players think that Aerodactyl is scared away, so they'll cut their Cologne from their Lugia for more beneficial cards. And that seemingly happened for this event. I did make a separate video on that one. If you want to find it, it'll be on my Silver Tempest playlist. But this is your standard DTE Mew list, except you have that 1/1 Aerodactyl line and a Leafy Camo Poncho. And Aerodactyl's Ancient Star ability shuts off all V Pokemon's abilities. So you can shut off Summoning Star, you can shut off an opposing Fusion Strike system. One difference I do see from like Xander Perro's list is he took out the Manaphy, and I think he cut that for a Leafy Camo Poncho. And the Poncho is a pretty cool card. Like, it makes it so your Aerodactyl, or even a damaged Mew, is safe on the bench. But I do, and also like Lost Box Kyogre didn't do very well this event, so Manaphy isn't necessarily a huge priority play. But I do think that I would like to find space for that Manaphy. But I do think this list is really solid, probably pretty close to optimal if you wanted to pick up Mew or Aerodactyl. So I do really like this list, and if it's something that you want me to feature, let me know, because I did feature it before, but not since Crown Zenith has come out. But yeah, overall, I really like this list. Alright, our next list is a top 8 list Lugia by Austin Reed. This is not anything too crazy. He's playing that Skyla, and they can't one in Vacuum, one Cologne. I really like the relatively thicker Lugia, the 3/3. You see a lot more 3/2 nowadays. And also, I do have that 4 capture energies. The 4 capture, 4 quick ball, 4 level ball, 4 instance. You're gonna be setting it pretty consistently most of the time. Like that, I'm a big fan of this list. I think it's pretty consistent. Not a whole lot I would change. This probably would be close to my 60 if I were to bring Lugia somewhere. Yeah, not a whole lot to add. It's just a really solid 60. I don't really think it's pretty basic. There's not anything super special about it. But I mean, the only cuttable card is Drapion. But I feel like Drapion's still pretty solid. If you were more afraid of Lost Box and Mew, you could consider adding a Wash Water to stick on your Manaphy. But yeah, other than that, this list looks really solid, and this is probably my preferred 60 of Lugia from this event. So on to our next list here is actually 3 players who played the same list, top 8 by John Eng and Regan Retzloff, and the finalist list that's played by Isaiah Bradner. All 3 very strong players that have been around for a decent bit. Yeah, this list I'm not quite as big a fan of as the other list. I would have definitely brought Cologne, and if I was playing Lugia OCIC, I would definitely suspect Paralysis. I would suspect Energy Denial decks. I'd expect Aerodactyl to be back, sort of as a reaction from the Lugia list that did well. I just think that, how is Second Vacuum, Speed Energy, higher priority plays than something like 4th Capture, 4th Lugia, 3rd Lugia V-Star, Cologne? It just doesn't really, not really my thing. Even V-Guard, I would say, it is sort of useful in the mirror, but the mirror, you're sort of cooked if you go second anyway. I know there's a little outplay you can have, but yeah, not a lot you can do going second with this deck. And I just if I'm going first, I want to be able to get my Lugia down on the first turn, and I just want 4 captures or 4 Lugia Vs. So yeah, not necessarily my favorite list. It's a little more on the inconsistent side. I just don't think Second Vacuum is ever necessary. It's just kind of a overkill card, and John did sort of say that in his interview on stream, that he hadn't found a whole lot of usage out of the vacuums. So I'd definitely cut a vacuum for a Clone at the very worst from this list. But I mean, you can't really knock it too much. 3 people made top 8 with it, so who am I to talk? Our next list is another Lugia, this one by Calvin Connor. Calvin's been on an absolute tear lately. Ever since play started back up, I first really heard about him online. I've seen him do a lot of online events, and he's been on fire since play has come back here. I like the Wash Water, pretty similar to the list that we've seen before. The Wash Water is pretty cool to stick on Manaphy, so in that Lost Box matchup, they cannot Lost Mine onto it, so you're pretty safe into that Aqua Storm play. I do like the Bird Keeper. I would like, I mean, the 3/3 Lugia is always nice. I like him as 3 B-stars. Like, pricing Lugia just feels so bad. Yeah, not a whole lot to add. I like this list. This list does feel pretty good. Yeah, not, I mean, the 16 energies, probably the only thing that I would maybe consider. I mean, I like to have Cologne, but not necessarily a need to have. But yeah, this is just a pretty solid list. Like, Connor's been an absolute tear. Like, top 4, he's been playing out of his mind. So yeah, big props to Calvin and really all the players who made top 8 this tournament. Like, this is the biggest regional ever, and just to make top 4 is just completely ridiculous. Even to make top 16, like out of 1,500 players, what's ridiculous is you're not even close to a Worlds invite with a top 4 at the biggest regionals ever. Like, I think that's a conversation for a different video. But the championship point system needs a huge overhaul. If you can get top 4 out of 1,500 people and not even be close to getting a Worlds invite, like, that is pretty screwed up. But yeah, all in all, huge props to Calvin Connor. Pretty busted list. And then on to our other top 4 player. This one is RaiQuaza Lost Zone Box by Moffitt. Another player who's just been on absolute fire lately. I did call before the event that RaiQuaza was going to be the best Lost Zone build, and Nicholas fulfilled that. I think this is probably the best build of Lost Box right now. He did say after the event that IceQ did not really pull its weight and probably could be cut. So I think he said specifically for second Raikou and third Grass Energy. But yeah, this is not a whole lot. It's sort of similar to Pablo. I think he played this list at San Diego or something very similar to this at San Diego. I haven't made a video about this one yet. If it's something that you want to see, let me know. But yeah, you do usual Lost Box stuff. Go early with Cram. You have that big one-shot attacker with RaiQuaza. Sableye can clean things up. This build is unique that you're not having anything like Radiant Greninja is not an option as an attacker. Only IceQ. Actually, I think his list from San Diego is just had water energies and no Raikou pack. Now that I think about it, but like Raikou is just completely insane. This matters. Just being able to one-shot or just put a ton of pressure on Lugias for Sableye to clean up later. It can one-shot Luminions, set up stuff for set up Archeopsis. Like, it's just really great right now. The double Manaphy is also really cool because it's something that we saw like way back in the day with Sablezard. But now, like with the Cologne, like one of Lugia's big plays into the matchup is to gust your Manaphy and play Cologne and then double snipe to your Pokemon with their own Raikou. But they can't do that if you have 2 Manaphy's down. So I think that's definitely a pretty cool inclusion. If you're not afraid of mirrors or Reggies, you definitely can consider cutting that IceQ for that thicker Raikou package. But overall, insane list. I love this list a lot. Probably be upcoming in the next few days on my channel. And on to our champion, Lugia by Andrew Hedrick. Absolutely insane run by Andrew. Another player who I hadn't really heard of before the online era, and he was very strong throughout the whole online era. I believe he's beat me quite a few times on various limitless tournaments. But yeah, this list it's a little different. Like, playing the one of Capturing Aroma just has sort of that extra ball search card. I don't know if how it's any better than a Capture Energy. But I know there's some pretty staunch fans of that Capturing Aroma. And playing the Echoing Horn. I love that Manaphy Wash package. I've said it a couple times already, but just be able to stick that on there in that Lost Zone matchup really improves it a lot. Having that, I don't know how consistent that the Echoing Horn play really is, because you sort of need to have it and Boss like raw in your hand, which can be sort of tough. So I'd be interested to see how much mileage he actually got out of it, because it seems pretty tough to pull off. Like, I feel like it probably could be Cologne. It'd be a lot easier to pull off and manage, and probably just as good. I don't know. I feel like Skyla is probably better than Irida. Skyla can find you Boss for future turns. So, in Irida, like, grabbing a Luminion and a Manaphy isn't always super useful, and it's only restricted to items. So, I mean, after rotation, it'll be even worse when tools are their own thing, not items anymore. But yeah, completely. I mean, it's not anything super different. I didn't have the Aroma, have the Horn, the cards we have seen before. But yeah, to win the most attended regional ever is an insane accomplishment. So yeah, huge shout out to Andrew for the busted list and the busted run. And now we're gonna get into my bold predictions. See if I completely did trash, or I actually know a thing or two. So yeah, let's get into them. All right, now on to the bold predictions. I placed 7 bold predictions in my final thoughts video. Now, pretty pleasantly surprised to get 4 out of 7 right. My biggest one that I completely crushed was that no Crown Zenith cards in the top 8. The first Crown Zenith card was in the 18th place deck, like none even in top 16. Like that was, I thought I was kind of second guessing myself after I made that take. Like, man, someone's probably gonna play Sky Sealstone in some sort of Lost Box build. But I was very, I think that was pretty bold take. But yeah, it did. I was surprised how well it did. And then also, Vikavolt had a very poor event. I think the best Vikavolt, I don't think one even got top 32. I think it was top 64 was the best Vikavolt. But it was just a straight build, no Aerodactyl, so got that one right. I unfortunately whiffed on the Lugia take. I got 2 parts of it right, but none to win the event. I was really rooting hard for Grant to close it out, but unfortunately, losing the coin flip into Mew's pretty much a death sentence, or into Lugia's pretty much a death sentence. Like, you can't really do a whole lot about that. Best Racing Radiant Eternus will be in top 64. No Radiant Eternus even made day 2. I thought some person would pack it and kind of have the heat, but no one even brought it. So that was kind of disappointing. Like I seriously thought like, should I bring that to top 128? But no one even day 2. Like I was sort of shocked with that. I hit on the best placing LZB being RaiQuaza. Nicholas pulled that one out for me. It sort of went hand in hand with that no Crown Zenith in top 8. I think the Zamazenta build was sort of overrated, and RaiQuaza was still the best build, and that did happen to play out. No Reddies in top 16. I think the best placing one was 24th place by Bart Musser, so I think that was, I always seems like when Reggie talked about it, it always flops, and I felt like more so than usual people were talking about how great of a player Reggie's was. And it never seems to work out that way when people start talking like that. And then I said Mew would win the event. Unfortunately, Grant did come up a little short. He got all the way to game 3 despite losing the flip. But losing the flip is just too much in this meta. I wish that that's my biggest problem with this meta right now, is there's too many decks that just rely on winning the coin flip or they have no shot. That's why I love playing Control, because you don't necessarily mind too much losing the flip. But yeah, playing a deck like Mew, losing the flip against Lugia is super tough to come back from. They almost have to brick, or not even a whole lot you can do to get out of it. Like they get that turn 2 summoning stars to take a Mew, and then you're just way too far behind. So I was hoping to get that one, but unfortunately not. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got, guys. If you have anything you want to add, tell me. Anything I missed, please let me know down below. Please consider subscribing and liking this video if you enjoy this kind of content. Any of the decks from this tournament that you'd like to see me upload, please let me know down below. And I'll link the Limitless page to all the Day 2 deck lists down below if you want to check any of them out. So yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And this has been All Out Blitzel, and I'll catch you in the next one.